Okay, welcome. Sunday, live coffee roasting. We're in the backyard, no rain today, nice sunny day. Gonna get this started. Put together another video because I bought a new coffee grinder and I'm gonna show that in just a second. I'm just gonna get this started. Introduce you to the coffee roast today. And then we'll talk about all this stuff as we get towards the end. Okay, I got it on 3/4. Here's what we're roasting today. Guatemalan Tecpan, and it's bittersweet. Nut and caramel accents, cocoa, almonds. So this is going to be kind of a chocolatey one. I'm going to talk about my last roast in just a second. And then we're mixing that with Nicaragua. This is a fruity one. Okay, this is going to be interesting, but it does say it has chocolate cherry flavor to it and a little honey nut, so that'll be interesting. Anyways, those are my two roasts, Nicaragua and Guatemala together. So I got this new coffee grinder, and I'm just put a little video together just to kind of give some people some idea of how some of these coffee grinders work. Now, this is not the cheap one, but it's pretty inexpensive on Amazon. I got it because my other coffee grinder, as I was talking about on my last video, just was terrible. And I really enjoyed the espresso I made last time. So got my espresso machine going and all that kind of stuff. So here's the video. Go ahead and play that video. I got this Chef coffee grinder on Amazon. So this is nice because it has a holder here for your espresso machine cup holder. This comes off really easily. Just basically slides on there, and then it has the for doing coffee grind. I'm going to go ahead and show you how I got this to work perfectly for me for making espresso shots. To turn this on, you just press the button here, play, pause, and I have it set on 2 for 2 shots. You can change it by time. I've learned that for 2 shots, I'm grinding at a number 16. You need to get your grind set perfectly for your shot and your espresso machine. My espresso machine does shots by time. It has 1 shot, 2 shot button on it. So I needed to make it so my grind worked perfectly with my espresso maker to pour an exact 2-ounce shot. And what I found was if I run this for 16 seconds on grind number 16 is what I have found works for me. I can just adjust it right here. To get my grind going, I'm just going to press play, and it's going to go ahead and grind for 16 seconds. Okay. It's got my filled up here. I just kind of level it out. Take my tamper and I compress it. I just give it a light press just to smooth it out. You see there, it's all nice and smooth. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come over here to my espresso maker. Okay, I got my espresso maker on. I've got my shot glass here, and it's actually marked for double espresso, single espresso. Power on, 1 shot, 2 shot, going to go ahead and hit my 2-shot. And you see here it's doing a nice good pour with some good crema right here. Coming up, oops, barely. And it pretty much perfectly filled my espresso shot. Got the foam dissipating all the way up. To me, that shows a nice good pour. So I'm going to adjust this up here to a drip grind. I'm going to try 32. I've never done this before, so I'm going to try a 32. And I can increase the time here for how long it grinds for. I'm going to do it 30 seconds. And like I said, I have my grind set on 32 and hit play. So there's my grind. So you can pause in between if you don't like your grind and you want to go a little bit bigger. I'm going to do a 40. And it's a little bit, it's a coarser grind there than the previous. It's got a cover here for your grind so you can keep it fresh. I try to grind mine every morning, but I don't really use the grinder. My coffee pot grinds its own. I really just use this for espresso shots, and that was the reason I bought it. Some of my things that, you know, I don't like reading the reviews because exactly this. I read reviews on this that said this was not a good coffee grinder. I found it to actually work really perfectly for me. It took me a couple of tries at different shots to get the pour to go right, but once I got the pour right, you know, the timing right with the grind setting and all that, I feel like it works great. So there is some, you know, adjusting that you need to do to this. A lot has to do with how many shots you're doing, 1 or 2, the time, and then the grind size. I got this AMS Chef All right, sorry about that. That was a mess up on my part. So what I was saying was, while the mic was down, that the coffee grinder, it took me a couple of tries to get it right. I tried grinding on the finest setting, and when I was grinding on the fine setting, it was too fine, and it was making it so the pour wasn't actually pouring at all. I would do my normal 2-shot pour, and it wasn't even doing a half a shot. So I started messing with it a little bit, and I found that my setting of 16 was where I wanted it. 0 being the finest. So it's on the top end of espresso. And like I was saying, when I was grinding it, you know, to me, it's all about the pour, working with my espresso machine. You know, your espresso machine might be a little bit different, but I have it so it's pouring perfectly now. It's got a nice good crema going, and then on a single shot and a double shot. And that's all I'm looking for, is the right pour, the right amounts for my machine. So back to roasting. 370 is where we're at right now. We're getting really close to being done. We're going to 430 today, and I'm going to try to pay attention a little bit more extra to maybe at 425 start turning this thing down. So I got these different gloves. These aren't new, but I found these. So hopefully these are going to make it a little bit easier for me to open the basket here. Like I said, you know, I've had problems opening the basket, and I've been using channel locks to open it. I don't even actually have the channel locks out here. That's how sure I am this is going to work. Yeah, right. Anyways, we're pumping 383 right now. We do have cracking going on, some smoking. You know, sun's shining out today. Beautiful blue sky. We've had a nice dry last 3 days. So it was like a perfect day to get out and do this. I had to kind of wait. It's a little chilly out. It was like 29 degrees last night, or this morning when I got up, and temperatures finally rose up into the, I think it's in the 40s now, I'm not sure. But a really, really nice day. Really crisp air, clean, sky's deep blue. Beautiful day in Western Washington, aside from how it's been for the last couple weeks with nothing but rain. So talking about my roasting machine, this is just something I got off of Amazon. You can do a search for coffee roasting machines on Amazon, and a bunch will pop up. There's quite a few different sellers on this brand here. And about $130. I prefer this one over the basket one. I had the basket one for quite a few years, and I've found that this one just roasts a lot more even. It's got this clear window on the side here where you can see the beans, and you know, I can't, you know, tell how well you can see the beans there. Looks like the camera keeps freezing up too, which is kind of weird. So the coffee roasting is all about temperature. Once we get into the 400 range is where we really want to start paying attention. You know, about 415, 420 is where you're going to start getting into your light roasts. From there, going to get into your medium and dark at like 425. It's kind of a good city roast area, medium. 430 is kind of getting on the medium dark side, and 440 is getting into the darker side. 450 is definitely dark. I've run this machine all the way to 470 and got a really, really nice dark, very flavorful roast. When you're pumping that high of a temperature on these roasters, you do run into the risks of the beans catching on fire. So you really need to watch it. If you want to see what that limit is, you know, pump it up to 470, 480. You're going to start getting some smoke. You're going to start getting some fire. Be prepared. You want to do this outside because a lot of chafe, that's the skin of the outside of the coffee bean coming off, and a lot of smoke. And we're getting to the point to where we're getting ready to de-chafe. We're at 423. I'm going to prepare to de-chafe, and as soon as we're at 426, I'm going to go ahead and shut her down. And now we're at 428, 430 now. I'm going to turn my roaster off. I guess I need to rotate a little bit more. Gloves work perfectly. And I split the batch into two because of how messy this is. And how much chafe's going to come out. So I have this circulating over the fan here. The fan is just blowing up through the bottom, and what it's doing is it's, you know, the chafe is much lighter than the bean, so kind of like panning for gold. It's getting rid of the waste. And we're also cooling the beans, stopping them from roasting. I'm going to put my other pan on real quick just to kind of get it cooling. And then I'm going to show you what the roast looks like. I'm assuming you can see all that chafe blowing off of there. And that's pretty much the importance of this step right here. You're trying to get all the dry bean skin off out of the beans. And then you're also cooling at the same time. All right, and there you can see a little final product, nice medium roast there. That's really nice. Very nice and chocolatey. I know it's kind of probably hard to see because of the brightness of the sun there. Let's see if I can shadow it out a little bit. That's not really helping. But that gives you a good idea of what that roast is looking like there. So I mention this every roast. I get my beans at Sweet Maria's, and you can get your beans anywhere online. There's plenty of places to find beans. I find that Sweet Maria's is easiest for me because they're in California, and it takes 2 days for a batch to get to me, and I need to restart my subscription. I mentioned last time that my bank gave me a new card because they changed, I don't know, from MasterCard to Discover or whatever. I'm not really too happy about it, but so I got a whole new card with a whole new number, and that's the worst part about the subscription with Maria's, is if you have any changes in payment, you have to email them and cancel your subscription and just redo the whole subscription. You can't just go on their site and change your billing information, which that is the only complaint I have about Sweet Maria's. Everything else I really like about it. Their website, they got a lot of information, they got a lot of equipment, they got a lot of, you know, coffee roasting equipment and information. You can go on there and read more about roasting if you want to learn deeper into some of the more specifics about coffee roasting. You know, I just show you what I'm doing here. I do this as a hobby. I do this every 2 weeks now because I do 2 pounds at a time. And that's because of this new roaster I have. I used to only be able to do 1 pound at a time with my old roaster. And looking pretty good. But there's all kinds of videos out there too if you want to watch some professionals show you how to roast coffee. I'm just showing you the basics, and I'm just trying to get you to where you may want to attempt this on your own and try this, you know, kind of by showing you every time I do this here, you know, the simplicity of it and, you know, the consistency and how you can determine the darkness of your roast. And it's all about temperature. Like, you know, I pulled these off at 430 degrees, and that's a nice, good medium roast. It's a nice, even, consistent bean color there. And that's the difference between using this and the basket roaster that I used to use. That's basically just an open screen basket. This definitely has a more even roast about it. The beans are all evenly roasted, and you can control the temperature a little bit better. But, you know, once the temperature gets up there, you really got to pay attention to what's going on with your roast. And this is just how I clean up my little mess here with all that chaff. So that's this week's coffee roasting and a little intro to my new coffee grinder. My coffee grinder has got me to where now I'm doing 2 shots every morning. I drink a cup of coffee before I go to work, and I pour a cup of coffee and take to work. 16 ounce, you know, to-go mug, and a shot of espresso inside. Really good. Adds a nice extra little kick to your coffee. So that's it for this week. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you may have learned a little something. And we will see you on the next one.